Okay, well, hello there, Drive-By Homily fans and Mac fans. Father Francis here on a beautiful fall afternoon, Saturday, out here on the river, 160, with another Drive-By Homily. Just letting you know that I'm making this video of a Drive-By Homily using the new iLife 11. I'm going to show you some of its features as I make this video. You probably noticed I have a different hat on. I usually wear my straw hat during the summer months, and when autumn starts, I put on my little kind of English sports car driving hat. Well, as you can plainly see from this video, we have kind of an overcast fall day. I love to employ the word autumnal on days like today. This is kind of the first truly autumnal day I think we've really had. We're expecting weather here in Northern California. It's Saturday afternoon, and so I thought I would take a little drive and just record my thoughts for the 31st Sunday in Ordinary Time. You know, as I said, this is getting on to fall, and I love fall. Fall's just, for me, it's one of the most well, there's just something very poignant about fall. And I don't know if it's the fact that, you know, we actually see things die in fall, you know, when you think about it. We're saying goodbye in many ways to the year that has passed. We're saying certainly goodbye to the summer months. Many people love summer, and, you know, summer's a time of vacation and time of relaxation and kind of wonderful days, long summer days. But those days are now behind us. Winter is just around the corner, but we have this wonderful transition called fall. All the beautiful colors. And again, we sometimes realize that in the fall, things naturally come to an end of life. That cycle of life comes to an end for a lot of things. And so I guess maybe I'm a little atypical when it comes to fall and autumn. I know there are a lot of people that do love autumn and fall, but not everybody does. A lot of people get kind of sad, you know, they're kind of depressed. Especially if you live in the upper Midwest, you know that when winter comes, probably you're talking, you know, being snowed in for 6 months or 5 months, thereabouts. And it's very cold and arduous. So again, I'm probably atypical. Even though I love fall, there's probably a lot of people that really don't care for it. A lot of people certainly love spring and summer, and there are people who love winter for winter sports. But fall is probably that time where some of us more melancholy types really kind of come to life. You know, for some of us, it just is very energizing. I know it is for me. Now, I say that because, again, I'm atypical probably of most people. Well, the person we meet in our gospel today, he's kind of atypical too. His name is Zacchaeus. And, oh my goodness, look at this huge farm equipment. Maybe you'll see that going by in my window there. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I almost got in a wreck there. That big, huge, I don't even know what that is. It's a big piece of farm equipment, but I don't know what that was. But anyway, Zacchaeus was basically an outcast. And why was he an outcast? Well, because he was a Jew, but he was a tax collector for the Romans. Boo, hiss. And what happened is the tax collectors in those days were given a little bit of license to add on a few extra dollars as a gratuity for the taxes that they collected. So you weren't really sure just how much you were paying in legitimate tax to the Romans, which were, again, the bad guys too, for Jewish people in Israel. But the tax collector, who was a Jew himself, but looked upon as a turncoat, a traitor, an outcast. And even though he may have lived a very nice life in some ways because he had lots of money, most people recognized that his wealth was kind of ill-gotten. Now here's the thing that I think is important for our readings today. We are told that in the first reading, God basically does not make junk. There was a wonderful bumper sticker that said that one time. God does not make junk. In other words, He made you. He made me. And if He made us, He intended to do that. Now, the thing is that some people we all have problems, okay? We all have problems. Let's just be honest, okay? Whether you eat too much, you drink too much, you spend too much. Maybe you've had a problem in the past with relationships. And so you've gotten yourself maybe in trouble that way. But most of us, in some regard, probably have a problem when it comes to certain personal difficulties. And in the past, a lot of times people would kind of say, I'm not good enough to be a Christian, or why should I be a hypocrite? And so when we look at Zacchaeus, we see this guy who's clearly an outsider, and most people would consider him a sinner too, because of the fact that he was basically ripping off his fellow Jews for being a tax collector. And so there was a sense of stigma that accompanied Zacchaeus. So he was clearly what we would probably consider an unsavory type, a sinner, a bad guy, okay? And yet, here's the wonderful thing. Here is the wonderful thing I think for all of us, is that Jesus comes walking by, and essentially he sees Zacchaeus in the crowd, not a Pharisee, not even what we would even consider just a good, normal, God-fearing Jew, a righteous person. I'm sure there were some in that crowd. But he finds Zacchaeus, and he says to Zacchaeus, I am going to come to your house today. Wow. Now, this gets Jesus in trouble with some of the more self-righteous people. They say, why is he going to go eat dinner with a tax collector and a sinner? But here's what happens. We see that Jesus goes, and there is a dramatic change because of this visitation. This is a visitation that brings a real profound change. Now let me interject something here real quick that ties in with our thought and our readings this 31st Sunday in Ordinary Time. The claim of Christianity is simply that Christ, who is risen from the dead, changes lives, okay? And he leads us to what we call salvation. Now the reason why I bring that up in the context of this, look out little squirrel, little animals running across the road, is because one of the new attacks that we have on Christianity is that it's all make-believe. It's all pretend. You believe in your magical characters and your fantasy characters, and I'll believe in mine. You believe in Jesus and, the disciples, and I'll believe in Frodo Baggins and the Lord of the Rings. That kind of thing. And we have to remember, and I was starting to say, that's pretty clever. That's pretty clever. For people to use that new type of an argument. But the thing that we forget, the thing that lots of people forget, is that Jesus Christ is not a fictional character. Not like Sherlock Holmes, not like Gandalf the Wise, but he is a real person who lived and still lives. Amen. And we have to recognize that. And so when we recognize that Jesus had encounters with sinners, and they had profound changes like Zacchaeus, well, we recognize that we too can have a profound impact when we seek Jesus the way Zacchaeus did. You see, Zacchaeus wanted to see Jesus. And my friends, that's the key. That's the real message here, is do you, like Zacchaeus, really want to see Jesus? Because what happens is when we really want to see Jesus, when we want to really give our hearts to God, when we do that, something happens. Something transforms us. When we get really honest with God, we begin to look at those things that are not good in our lives. We begin to say, I want to live like this. Zacchaeus said, the people that I've cheated and defrauded, I'm not just going to pay them back. I'm going to pay them back fourfold. In other words, I want to live now a good life. I want to dedicate myself to you, Jesus. I want to be a follower of yours. See, and there were just countless people. We only read about maybe a small percentage of the people that the Lord actually touched in his lifetime. But he continues to touch the hearts and minds, and has of millions and millions of men and women throughout the centuries, because he is alive. He's not make-believe. He's not pretend. He's not some fantasy character, but he's a real person, and he has ascended to heaven, and that's where he's going to. The reality is that we all are going to have to, just like in this autumn, face the fact that we're going to die. You know, we're going to have to breathe our last, you know. And the question remains for all of us, you know, where will we spend eternity? You know, that old-fashioned question, where will you spend eternity? Well, I choose to spend it with God, with the Lord Jesus Christ, okay? That might sound a little fundamentalist to some, but you know, that is the reality. If you really boil it down to its lowest common denominator, you know, you distill it to its finest essence, that's what the life of faith is designed to do, is to help us prepare for eternity. So that's what we do. That's what we do. You know, we say goodbye. We learn to say goodbye to things that hurt us, things that make our lives miserable when we really think about it, things that, you know, even things in our past that we're ashamed of. We can even let go of those things, and we don't have to allow the past to define our present. So today, as we look at our 31st readings today, you know, we rejoice that Christ comes to visit all of us in a very real and personal way. Oh, there's a dead coyote on the road. Sorry about that. Anyway, this has been Father Francis, the Faith Guy, with another drive-by homily. Thank you for watching. Hey, please subscribe, and until next week, keep on keeping on. See ya.